we're actually going to be restoring this press, and we took it down from storage, pressure washed it so far. We're just going to try to bring it back to life, so when we're doing these videos, we have a dedicated space, and we're just going to polish it up. The plan is to get everything nice and tidy, remove the paint. This might be a longer video, so for those that stay throughout the whole thing, let us know if you like this kind of content. All right, so taking off the arms right now and just unbolting from both sides. Kind of hard to get to those bolts, but we were able to do it. And these are what hold up the pallets. These are the heads. And so right now what I'm doing is I'm removing the stopping bolts so that I can remove the springs. And obviously taking off the circlips that are holding the springs on to the actual head. As you can see, once the springs are off, it's like super loosey-goosey. These were super tight in there. It was like super tight, which was kind of weird. Usually they're a little bit looser, so. And a reminder that everything is a hammer. Anyway, this is the king nut or a castle nut, and we're removing the carousel basically right now, revealing a huge bearing. This is very seized up as well, so it spins not very well. The bearings are just, you know, gummed up with some nasty lithium ion grease. So okay, so we're just removing the last couple pieces to reveal the base. All right, so I just broke down the entire press into the individual components, and now I'm gonna take each kind of section, start cleaning them, break those down even farther, and then reassemble them. Then we'll take everything back together, take the individual components, and then put it all back as a functioning press, and yeah, show you kind of how that goes. Okay, so this is us dissecting the heads. We're just taking them apart, taking out the clamp bolts and the knobs. There are these tiny circlips inside of some of them. They're kind of mismatched. And these circlips were kind of a, you know, a bitch to get out, but we were able to do it with a flathead. The threads were destroyed. They were totally gummed up, rusted out, super, super bad. Here I'm taking off the spring bracket. And also the adjuster knob. Those were also super glued in there. It was kind of gnarly, but they were able to come out, and this one was broken. Look at that. So that was kind of satisfying in a way to get that out. There's me, like I was saying, shaving off the ends of those mushroomed bolts so that we can get them through the rest. This is my good old buddy Brown, and he is just prepping the base for paint. Alright, so now I'm just cleaning and kind of prepping the surfaces again, using the wire wheel. I got my handheld and tried a few different methods. I mean, it was pretty gnarly trying to get all this grease out, honestly. And I thought I could do it while it was still attached to, you know, the base. Took some sandpaper and just trying to scuff everything up, making it adhere, ready for, you know, paint adherence, I guess. But that bearing, we end up taking that completely off, getting the rivets out, and then starting fresh, just because it was just too hard to access. So yeah, again, this is me just scrubbing out everything, taking a brass wire brush, just kind of prepping them all, just so we can paint them so they look nice and pretty. So I got an ultrasonic cleaner for this project because I have a ton of small parts, super greasy, inked up and stuff. And I went to start scrubbing them and using my wire wheel on them. And then I realized, I'm sure someone already thought about this before. And then my trusty old brother told me about ultrasonic cleaning and figured I'd shell out the money for it because I can use it for a lot of things. So let's crack it open and see how it works. Oh, product shout out. Get your box cutters over at Badger. We'll hook you up. Whoa, baby. Looks like a brand new fridge. You ain't gonna need those, boy. The lid? Ooh, I hate styrofoam, dude. Ooh. 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 Yeah, so just to mention what an ultrasonic cleaner does, it basically takes the molecules inside of the cleaner, it heats it up to a desired temp, and we put in some cleaner, and in this case it's Simple Green Max, like heavy duty, and basically these molecules just vibrate and shake and go through every little place, and they kind of basically removing all the rust and really intricate parts that's really hard to get to even with a wire brush or a wire wheel. Basically it's just taking all the grease. You can see it right there, just kind of pulling out from all the crevices of all the parts. And so this made it super nice, cleaning up little tiny, you know, circlips and bolts and all that kind of stuff. Here's me taking all the arms, getting it prepped for paint. We used, in this case, we just used a like prime and paint Rust-Oleum gloss black. It worked out pretty good. Okay, so we just got a bunch of stuff cleaned up, threw a lot of stuff through the ultrasonic cleaner, and now we're ready for assembly. So I have a couple more things in the bath right now. We have our bearings that cleaned up super nice that we took apart, but if you listen, they have no grease in them because ultrasonic cleaned them. So we're gonna repack everything, get everything re-greased up and reassembled, and it's gonna look freaking gorgeous. When I was going through all the hardware, I found that nothing was like consistent. So same thread, but just random bolts and nuts and stuff. It looked like it was just pieced together with whatever we could find around the shop. We're just gonna clean all that up and put it together. So let's start going. All right, so now that everything's nice and cleaned up, we're starting to reassemble. So again, here's the bearing without any grease in it. We take some rivets and just rivet them onto the base plate. I just took an old, like one of these clean bolts and just used it to spread all the grease around. And I gave up and went and got some gloves and just used my fingers. Now we're inserting the carousel on top, basically making sure that all the right fittings are on there. And also obviously the washers and the nuts were all clean, ready to go. Just removing some of the tape from some of the threads I didn't want to have messed up. Putting the other bearing on. They're just like one-sided, but they're all compact, and then you just rivet them on wherever you want them instead of using bolts, so it's kind of a permanent fixture. Putting on the castle nut, getting that back to where I wanted it. I did not have another cotter pin, so I went and found one, and it was on the ground where I threw it earlier. And I just shoved that back in, and it was fine. Okay, so now I'm just putting back on the arms. I'm not shimming them yet or aligning them. I'm just getting them all, you know, basically back on with all their correct bolts, the correct hardware. This is me using a janky, you know, extended bit to try to get in there. In all of the, oh man, I can't remember what we call them, the yokes. So these are all the yokes that go on the arms that basically take where the head is at, and it lands, and then you can correct it with some nylon bolts inside. And so I'm just reassembling the heads. That's probably the most complicated part of the entire press, is just the entire head mechanism. It was so tight getting these off, so I actually used a pipe clamp and did it reverse, I guess, and just was able to expand those so I had enough room to put back in my heads, I guess. So and then I spent the next hour getting everything shimmed up and corrected so that it had the right, you know, everything was in level and squared up to the press, and so I was able to realign everything. That was kind of crazy. That took a while, a lot longer than I anticipated, but also not really, because we did it across a month worth of time. I bet we could have done this all in one day, no problem. We just ended up taking a lot longer, waiting for an ultrasonic cleaner to show up and all that kind of stuff. The paint, I'm super stoked about that paint. So we left the pallets just from our other press. As we recentered them, we decided just to leave them. And yeah, we just went through, re-greased everything, and got everything basically brand new as far as it working. But yeah, I mean, it's like, it feels like it's a brand new press, honestly. Things I would change. I probably would have spent more time on the wire wheel. Just like some chunkies on there that maybe would have been nicer if I would have spent a little bit more time. Yeah, so basically, yeah, we painted this whole thing. Turned out sweet, super stoked about it. Love the paint, and feels like it's new. Funny thing though about this project as we were wrapping it up is I got a text from my good homie Schmood. He's like, dude, do you want to take my old press for your videos? And he already like redid his. Way cooler than this one. This one, shout out to his YouTube channel too. I'm trying to convince him to get on OnlyFans for his feet, but we'll see what he does, you know? So check him out, Schmood on YouTube and all the plats and stuff. But this one turned out good, all the best, and yeah, you'll see it in the future on some future videos. Adios, muchachos.